I think we're back. Hopefully we're back. Well, apologize. Majiki told me to apologize for being on the wrong stream, so I will do so. But now we're on the right stream, so hopefully things will be going a little bit more smoothly from here. We're going to be starting on to Lijiang Tower once again. An interesting composition actually. Triple tank being run by Sydney Clucks on their attack round. And similar composition to what they ran on defense, being run by Parashift here on defense. We're gonna go for a similar approach once again. DC Bolt getting an early kill onto Scooterlight there. But they're gonna be making their way onto the point. The hook coming through, but no kill onto that Mercy. Spectre is going to be pretty unhappy with that, I would say. Another hook coming down, but no connection. Like getting that kill should give them a bit of a mad advantage. Falzik is trying to do his best. He is getting bottled up. He's surrounded. He's killed. The Coalescence will be committed to take out Philander and Snooterlight. Finishing off DC Bolt. This should be a reasonably fast cap for the side of Sydney Clucks. So.
Yeah, that was a really impressive take. That was probably some of the most dominant play that we've seen on the side of Sydney Clucks this game. Despite the early pick on Snootlight, they pressed ahead and there was some Hail Marys in there. Sayburst got an absolutely incredible pin in the middle of that fight. Did die, but was able to take down an enemy tank and get take down the enemy soldier. So that was a really impressive first take there.
Well, Lotto Force would be proud of that play.
Absolutely.
Payload is going to start moving. The high ground has been taken by Parashift. They're going to be jumping down now. They got Soldier. Oh, he's completely behind the enemy, but he's not really getting many targets as the members of Sydney Clucks managed to retreat into that keep there. And Earthshadow will come down. Doesn't really get much besides Farzik on that Winston. The Deperny will take down Sabers in the middle, and a double kill Pulse Bomb will finish it off. And that's one way to close out a fight.
That was the drop. The unexpected drop of the Hog was a beautifully orchestrated play on the side of Sydney, on the side of Para there. That was indeed.
They didn't really. You should really be expecting. They should have known that they were on the high ground, but caught them completely unawares, it seemed.
Yeah, nobody expects flying pigs, do they?
Alt advantage is in favor of Sydney Clucks right now. Are they kind of waiting, looks like, until Spectre comes in? They're going to take a bit of an unconventional approach onto the payload. That Rhine shield leading the way. Deperny is pretty much uncontested though in the air, and he's raining down some rockets. He gets uncomfortably close to that Roadhog cook there. I'll be careful about that. The Graviton Surge will come down, but comboed with the Death Blossom and the Coalescence. So 3 picks going the way of Sydney Clucks, and that should allow them some space to push the payload here. They did commit a bit though to win that fight, so they've lost their alt advantage. The barrage is up for Deperny, and Kulan almost has that crucial Valkyrie available now. Spectre being booped up and managing to survive. No, he walks off! He walks off the platform! And the barrage will come down by Deperny. It doesn't matter in the end because New will get the double kill with that attack visor from the high ground. That was a very scary moment there for Parashift, losing one member.
It happens to the best of us, I'd say. Seeing Snootlight on the Torbjorn, let's hope that's a troll pick, yes. Moving on to the Roadhog.
Seems a bit undecided as to what hero he needs right now. And Spectre's going to switch off onto the Genji. Changing things up here. The hook is good onto New. That was incredible hook
Oh, it
onto the
almost
high
didn't get the
ground.
kill, but locked it in with Spectre's Swift Strike.
Brilliant play from him. Seeing him go aggressive now onto the back of the point. He does find the support, but he's taken down by Falzik there. The res will come through onto the Zenyatta, but meanwhile, Sabers on the payload, getting the double kill, getting the kill onto the D.Va. New will fall to his death after the boot from Salboy. Funny, once again, a barrage will come through. Doesn't get any kills, but the Coalescence will keep everyone alive here. It's Ryan Shatter coming through. Once again, Owlet will take down the Mercy, and this should give them space they need to win this fight. The D.Va Bomb will come out, a bit of a Hail Mary. Does manage to get Savers there. The Winston Shield not covering him. And Bernie will get taken down in the end. Spectre finishing off DC Bolt there on that mini D.Va. And that should be point 2. I think the Brez will come through.
It's a crucial resurrect there, but is it enough?
Dragon Blade should put the end to those hopes. DC Bolt will get taken out, but he doesn't really get much else. He does take out Defenny there. The bomb, Tracer, Pulse Bomb will not get anything there. Another Coalescence committed. They're really having to commit way more else than they would like to take this second point, but they do manage to complete it. Battering round will start on that.
That was an exceptionally long stall from Paris Shift there. They managed to whittle down a good 50 seconds of Sydney Clucks' time. And fortunately, they've already got more time in the bank for their potential fourth push should they need it.
That stall could prove crucial here in this map. And the Tapani will pop the barrage, but doesn't manage to get anything as a sound barrier, keeping all the members alive. 5-man sound barrier there. The Cook will come down onto Quinlan. That's a great hook. That should give them some space. Once again, they're pushing forward. They're trying to take out DC Bolt. He's gone low. But the shield will come up once again just in time, but no. Savas will take him down. May now for Deperny trying to stall as best he can. The Junkrat Riptire will get taken out by someone. He had the opportunity to get that Winston. The Graviton Surge will be committed. The Dragon Blade for Spectra. The Earth Shadow will come down though for Falzik, and that should push everyone off the point. Doesn't get the kill onto Deperny though. Charge onto Halak, but he will get taken out by Smoothlight late in that fight.
30 seconds left. Let's see if Sydney Clucks are able to regroup and make one final decisive push. They've only got Deperny on the May to sort of really worry about, and New on Junkrat, but
Farzik almost has that Earth Shatter available here. Let's see if he can build it up. Sabest also getting very close, and Smoothlight close to that whole hog as Mighty Boy actually gets the first pick onto Sabest there, but Kalak immediately answering back. The Graviton Surge committed here. The Smoothlight with the whole hog though will get the double kill. Spectre getting the dash reset for 2 kills of his own, and that was incredible. I think that was actually a deflect onto the Graviton Surge, which caused all the members of Sydney Clucks to be caught in that Zarya ultimate. Sabers will get the Earth Shatter and the charge onto Falzik. And now the respawns trying to come through to stall. Mighty Boy will commit that Transcendence just to keep Overtime alive. Spectre will not get much from that Dragon Blade, but he will take down Mighty Boy. And that will be that. They do manage to do it in overtime, I believe.
That was an exceptional stall. Seen some amazing stall potential on the side of Paris Shift. The May was able to hold for additional 5 seconds, and then the Transcendence comes out for an additional 5 seconds. Really long stall on the side of Paris Shift there. It's quite impressive, really.
Yeah, and really, I thought they may be able to to get the team wipe when that deflect came through onto the Graviton Surge, but they didn't really have the follow-up. It seemed the damage really wasn't there. And they were able to immediately... Oh, there's a pause requested, I think. But yeah, the damage will came through from that whole hog. From... Who was playing the Roadhog? I can't even remember now. But yeah, the whole hog getting the double kill and the Genji dashing through for another quick 2 kills. Proved crucial there in that final fight. Looks like we have a disconnect here.
It's fortunate that it happened between rounds rather than in the middle, losing all that ultimate charge. So hopefully we'll get that player reconnected very quickly.
That's right. Looks like New. It might not be a disconnect. Looks like maybe New needed to restart his game. He's having some tech issues. Well, what did you think about the first 2 rounds here? Do you think Parashift may be able to take this map?
This is a really interesting situation that Parashift is in now, because Sydney Clucks was able to really move swiftly on their attack and take the point very quickly. However, Parashift, they needed a little bit of time to get rolling, and the defense on the side of Sydney Clucks was really quite good. However, I'm noticing they've opted not to run that same defense with the Reinhardt and the Zarya this time, instead of that Hog and Orisa.
Yeah, so no more pick composition coming through. They're going to go for something a little bit more defensive. Even more defensive, I should say. And Depeni's actually going to be playing the Pharah. So this could almost be a direct counter here to this composition, as it's very immobile and short range.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to be coming through main, and then rotating around to the left side and onto the point. Snootlite being pushed back by that Pharah rockets. Still haven't made their way onto the point. Now the dive comes through from Farzik, followed up by New on that Tracer, but Halak getting the kill instantly onto him. Spectre and Snootlite will combo to finish off a couple more. Depeni kind of in the middle of nowhere here. He's going to reset.
Yeah, what's really interesting here is that a defensive team such as Sydney Clucks are gonna struggle on capture points like in Ilios, but here they're really able to lock down this point.
Eichenwald, especially point A, is well known for favouring defensive teams, but the double kill pulse bomb onto Halak and Salman, that could be it. That could be the opportunity they need to get a quick capture here. Zabas will be taken out of his mech and taken down. That's it. That's going to be Parashift winning Eichenwald off the back of that incredible pulse bomb there by New.
Gosh, now I just feel like there's egg on my face. Calling the defensive team able to hold, and then that Tracer with the double kill opens up so much space for a quick attack.
And there's really not much you can do where two members going down to the pulse bomb. That's about as bad as you can get really for a defensive composition.
Yeah, what was incredible was that I think it was the Zenyatta got stuck and then walked into the Zarya. And Zarya to go down to the pulse bomb as well is you have to be pretty close to it, you know. It's only 400 damage at the center, so...
Yeah, that's right. Perhaps he took some spam and was already a little bit low, but...
Yeah, it was a really decisive play there for the side of Parashift.
Yeah, New proving very impressive in those first 2 maps. And now it looks like we're going to go on to Assault, I think, for our 3rd map.
Yeah, Volskaya Industries, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, so we might see something a little different come out from one of these teams on Volskaya, hopefully. Maybe Sydney will make Sydney Clucks will identify some changes they need to make. But what do you suggest? Okay, so what do you think Sydney Clucks need to do here?
Oh, I really like the look of their defense the first time around with the Roadhog and the Orisa. I feel like you can't really get a better tank combination for defense than that if you've got the DPS to follow up. And we've seen them run occasionally the Junkrat, but I think that should really come out in force on Volskaya. There's lots of, especially that first point, there's a very clear choke point, which throwing, grenades down should generally keep people at bay for a good period of time.
Yeah, it should be an interesting matchup if they do decide to run that composition, because Parashift have shown with their dives that they're actually quite coordinated. So, see which team comes on top. And I think...
I mean, maybe even bringing out a Brigitte on defense might be an interesting support. One that's able to carry their own weight, so to speak, not having to rely on peels so much when that dive does come in, and able to heal whilst she's attacking a diving tank, for example. So I feel like that could really be of an asset to the Sydney Clucks side. But that being said, she's not in comp at the moment, so no one's really been able to get to grips with her in a sort of more structured environment.
Yeah, that's right. I don't have much of a reference on how good Brigitte is. I was wondering if you could provide some insight into that case, sir, because I really haven't. It's pretty hard to get any kind of reference from Quick Play, for example. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, just from sort of the sort of scrims sometimes that I'll be involved in, you can really see Brigitte come into her own as that sort of front line support, being in the thick of the fight, even more so than Moira in some instances, being able to stun enemies on an essentially very short, 6-second cooldown is a really powerful ability. Can deny ultimates almost effortlessly. And the AoE healing with the sort of flail hammer whilst you're doing damage has that incredible combination that, again, not even Moira has. So, of course, Moira has to choose between doing the damage and doing the healing, whereas Brigitte is able to just, smack the enemies around with her flail and keep her entire team up. So it's a quite powerful, thick of the fight support, and does indeed really quite counter any dives, especially if the dive is looking for that backline squishy support, and they're met with a shield to the face, or a mace to the face, I guess, as Brigitte would say.
Well, that's interesting. So what position, given the current meta, which is very Zenyatta focused and very support duo is often, you see, Zenyatta Lucio, or Zenyatta Mercy, or Zenyatta Moira, for example. Do you think she will replace Zenyatta in this case, or would she replace the other support?
See, I definitely think that the strength of Brigitte comes from simply that AoE healing and the shield bash, because her ultimate doesn't replace the incredible, 300 HP, AoE that Zenyatta can put out and essentially deny majority of the ultimates in the game. Brigitte does 25 additional armor per second. It's a very sort of slow, built up ultimate rather than a very quick sustain. And so I feel like teams are going to start to move towards, the Brigitte as a sort of primary healer to keep people up with that sort of defensive ult with the Zenyatta, or maybe even the Lucio, also a quite powerful, denial of count, like a denial of enemy ultimate ability with the large sound barrier that he can produce.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems to be a very my impression of that is it seems to be very almost all in. You have to be aggressive in order to get the healing out. So it'll favor these aggressive teams that run. Possibly, I'm not sure how well it would synergize with dive, but dive is about as aggressive as you can get, and you have to be pretty much in the enemy's face to really output that healing that you're able to. So that's really where I think she will be used and where she will excel.
Yeah, absolutely. As a dive support, because she's able to hold her own, she's not as squishy as some of the other supports. She's definitely able to, stay in the thick of the fight, in the middle of dives. Maybe even where Zenyatta, well, definitely where Zenyatta can't be. Sort of standing towards the back, and Zenyatta becomes that target for the enemy tracer, for example, and able to pick Zenyatta, and then it can all go pear-shaped from there. Whereas Brigitte can stay in the thick of the fight with the dive, and the diving team can really capitalize. But again, on the flip side of that, if you have a defending Brigitte and a dive comes in onto you, and then the Brigitte is just able to go absolutely ham on that diving that diving hero, and really make some good defenses with the Brigitte as well.
Yeah, you have to be very careful about how you execute your dive and when you use your mobility abilities, because if Brigitte's able to deny that unblockable impact damage that dive so heavily relies on with the Winston jump and the Genji dash and the Tracer following up.
There's absolutely some crazy things that she can deny that I've seen her deny. She denies health pack when she denies health when Roadhog takes a breather. She can stop him mid use of that.
Of course, yeah.
Dare say that she's able to stop a leaping Winston mid jump. So there's a lot of mobility things that she can deny.
That's right. So once teams start to figure it out, we might be seeing a little bit more Brigitte come through. But actually, as I say, that Mighty Boy is actually going to be hovering over it. So we'll see whether he chooses to lock that in.
This is a really interesting attacking comp. So it's looking like triple tank with. Okay, now news on the. Not 100% sure how this is going to go down. I mean, it could work, maybe.
It's almost like pirate ship, but there's no payload, so I'm not sure how it's
quite interesting. I mean, it could work though, because you think Reinhardt and Brigitte synergize so well, keeping lots of shields at the front. Oh no, of course, here we go.
Yeah, no, he's gonna switch over to that Roadhog.
Triple tank, triple DPS, triple support. Sorry.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's like playing Brigitte as more of an off-tank role, as Barzik actually will get the first kill to the Mercy. That's very crucial here, and that's going to give him a huge advantage coming through onto the first point. One support down, no resurrection. Quillan will take out Salbot, no supports now available. New will get the knife headshot onto Halak as he blinks. Very quick cap here coming through from the side of Sydney Clucks.
Just when I was about to doubt my own sort of analysis on whether Brigitte's useful, they come in and Reinhardt able to take down two very early, especially pivotal at Mercy, and just steamrolled first point.
Apologies, I said Sydney Clucks. I meant Parashift, of course, taking that first point. And they're going to be pushing through onto the second now. Spectre, though, getting the answering kill onto New and Mighty Boy, taking out the Mercy, though, once again. And Sabus is just absolutely cornered. The Spectre will pop that tac visor, but he's completely alone. The Penny will take him down. Halak on that Farah. Last one left alive. Taken out by Quillan's coalescence there. Now they're desperately trying to get back to the point on the make. Can he get there? No! He's taken out! And that's gonna... Oh, there's a contest coming through. Sabus is on the point. The 5-man Earth Shatter, but no follow-up. New will take down two here. He's on cleanup duty on that Tracer. Halak also will be killed, and that's that. Incredibly fast cap.
I am astounded. That was an incredibly swift cap. I believe, what's that, 1 minute 39 seconds that took to cap, if I'm not mistaken.
Both points in 1 minute 39. That's insane.
It really looks like that Brigitte did wonders. No, Bielzek on that Reinhardt was absolutely popping off. Incredible early picks in both at both capture points, and just really enabled his team to, steamroll as they did. That was just an incredible showing, and I almost feel a little bit bad for Sydney Clucks. They just weren't able to, take a breath. The very first point, early picks, and then they get steamrolled. Second point, they're just about to set up, just about to get their head in the right space, and another early kill comes out, and the point is taken very, very quickly. That was
crucially, I think Quillan died very early on in both fights, and that really put Sydney Clucks at a huge disadvantage. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's with sort of attack like that Quinlan might be thinking, as a support, well, if I'm a little bit too vulnerable, am I perhaps better off going for that Brigitte or, another support more able to self-defend than Mercy, who's, always relying on the rest of her team to be, in an opportune spot.
That's right. And really, the death ball was real on that attacking round. As you said, they had no time to breathe whatsoever. And, well, we're going to be going on to our second round now. The interesting composition actually coming out from the side of Parashift on their attack, Reinhardt and Roadhog. Oh, sorry, Triple Tank. And they're going to be speed boosting through that left-hand side, going to be coming up onto the high ground as the rotation comes through from Sydney Clucks. Changing fire here. And they're going to speed boost through once again. They're trying to get into close range. And they managed to do so. No picks just yet, but they may have to push down. Falzik getting the first pick onto Halak, and Depani will DMX Spectre here as well. That should give them a bit of an advantage. New taking out Sabers with some nicely placed Helix rockets. They do manage to get a DMAC onto DC Bolt, but Sailbolt and the Baby Diva, only ones left alive, they do take them down in the end.
That was a very interesting route taken by Sydney Clucks there. It was almost like they were trying to dive, but with very non-dive tanks, with the Reinhardt. It's very, very interesting. I mean, it could have worked, I feel, yeah. But I think that at the end of the day, a lack of a clear target was probably the issue there. The tanks had split once they got to the end of that run, and it didn't seem like they knew who exactly they were going for.
A nice disengage, partial disengage came through from Sydney Clucks as well on the defenses. The dive will come through this time. The compositions have changed up a little bit. Spectre will get the kill on the new, but the res will come through as Kulan has popped his Valkyrie. Primal Rage now, and Depani getting the double kill with the dashes. The dash resets are real, and Halak and Sabers will reset. Once again, convincing defense coming through from the side of Parashift.
Yeah, that's a really solid defense that they've managed to set up, and because they've just been able to repel, 2 attacks, and with Sydney Clucks switching up the hero roster so often, you've got to think whether or not it's even worth it's worth the changes, because they don't have any ultimates coming into this.
Yeah, they're at a huge ult disadvantage. 4 ults available now for the side of Parashift as the dive will come through once again, but Owlet first to die, and the cleanup will be coming through. The main tank gone. The resets now coming through for the side of Sydney Clucks, and once again that's a 5-1, but I think they would have expected that to be a dry push. They had no ultimates. They probably wanted to bait one out though from the side of Parashift. They didn't manage to do so.
60 seconds remaining.
Spectra is getting close to that Dragon Blade though, and Snooterlight almost has that Pulse Bomb as well. Sailbolt should get his Transcendence during this fight, and they're going to be taking a long route. No, they're a bit undecided. They're waiting for the Zenyatta to join them. And yes, they're going to be taking the long flank around the right-hand side onto the high ground once again. The rotation has already come through from the side of Parashift. And it looks like the Tracer has come down with the logo and trying to get a flank. Going to go all the way around. The dive will come through, but Owlet's immediately taken down by a soldier He dived a little bit too early, and the attack visor and the will be committed as well. Defending getting the double kill onto both supports there with the dash.
10 seconds remaining.
And, well, that's probably going to be another reset. Are they even going to be able to get back? The Prime Rage is committed to try and trigger the overtime. Smoothie Light does manage to touch the point. The Diva Bomb will be coming through. Owlet caught in that. And Halak trying to get the res onto it. He does manage to do so, but meanwhile he does pay for it with his life. Spectre will commit the Dragon Blade, take out 2. Transcendence will keep him up. And disadvantage now for the side of Parashift. The respawns have come through for the attacking side. They look like they have some momentum now. Deperny, the last one left, and against all odds, they're actually going to cap the first point.
I'm bewildered and shocked and astounded. It started very spuriously with a long flank and a sort of confusing route, and then Owlet diving in on his own with no Diva following him in, and Owlet being taken out very quickly. But then the Tracer staying back after the fight was lost, and couple that with Owlet popping Primal, able to cap that point in an almost incredible manner. That was a very impressive capture.
And Halak actually coming through with the crucial res onto Owlet as well, as he died early on.
Oh, yeah.
As the Deperny will pop that Dragon Blade there in the backline, does manage to get Starboard and will take out Owlet as well, so this will be a reset for the side of Sydney Clucks here. And yeah, that's as I was saying, incredible first point capture. And now they have 3 minutes and 9 seconds to do the same for that second point. They do have a bit of an ult advantage coming up here with Prime Rage and the Diva Bomb available. Spectre is very close to that Dragon Bomb, Dragon Blade, Dragon Bomb. That would be an interesting ultimate.
That would most definitely be a very confusing ability, yeah.
Spectre will get the first pick there onto New, so this could be their opportunity. You'll pop the Dragon Blade in the backline, getting Mighty Boy there, who's left completely on his own. The Valkyrie is committed by Kulan. He does get the res onto that Zenyatta with the Transcendence also coming through for the side of Sydney Clucks here. Primal Rage for Falzik, not getting much. DC Bomb will actually take out Cellbot here. That could be crucial. Pulse Bomb committed. It's good. It manages to D-Max Saber. Deperny finishing off that kill. And once again, defense is good for the side of Parashift here. Unfortunately for Sydney Clucks, they committed all of their ultimates into that and did not. They did manage to get 1 tick, so that is some consolation for them, but they didn't manage to get the point capture that they needed.
Yeah, completely. This match, as that first point capture showed us, this match is far from being over, and I think that a clutch victory here.
Dive will counter dive actually coming through from Falzik, and they completely bolted up in that course. Elbow though taking out Deperny during the Dragon Blade, and the Transcendence will come through from Mighty Boy as he tries to make do with his remaining members. The Pulse Bomb will not get anything. Dragon Blade though committed now by Vector. Transcendence will keep him up as well, but no kills as Falzik is trying to do his best with that Primal Rage active. He's taken down though, and the Diva Bomb tried to zone. Deperny has switched off onto the Pharah. The res is good onto Owlet, and this is a bit of momentum now for the side of the Sydney Clucks. They're getting those kills they need. Kulan is the only one left alive on the point. The respawns will come through by Falzik is now coming, trying to trigger that contest, but he's being battered away. Deperny switched off onto the Doomfist. He gets the kill on the Salvo, and now the rest of